So I looked up how intelligent hippos are, and one source claimed hippos have one of the biggest brains for a land mammal. Never mind that this guy never once factors in what can be considered intelligence than just brain size in comparison to their body size. Let me give you an example, since he used communication as a factor in his hyena versus gray wolf video in the field of intelligence. It's been confirmed hippos are vocal or social animals, even underwater, where you need a special kind of microphone to even hear it. Going by that, hippos should have higher intelligence on that graph. Don't get me wrong, communication is not the sole factor determining an animal's intelligence, but it's still putting more thought into it than this guy did in his entire segment. Okay, if this was done with Emmer's blessing to continue his series, much less make a character after him before he passed away, then I would have said the responses this video got were totally jumping the gun. But if this comment by Ace Salieri is to go by, that isn't the case, and I'm going to be completely blunt here. Making a video exploiting the death and or suffering of other people for your own benefits is one of the scummiest things you could ever do, not just on YouTube, but anywhere in general. You, sir, should be absolutely ashamed of yourself for doing something so disrespectful. Hey, remember when a few years ago on my main channel, I commented on Next of Ken's list of overrated movies that secretly suck? Well, he just made an update video that appears to be the last video he'll make on there. And let me just say, very rarely do I see an update video where roughly the first 2 minutes had so much wrong in it. Plus, I won't commentate on the entire video because outside of these 2 points, there really isn't much else to say. Apparently, you don't know what fair use is, because with regards to your countdowns, since the video I commentated on, they don't fall under fair use. You want to know why? Well, let me play a single entrant from his most recent countdown of the times Timmy Turner's dad was basically you. Now tell me, how did this have any form of commentary, critique, news reporting, or hell, even parody? If you answered it had none of the above, then congratulations, you see what the problem is here. I've seen other countdowns you've done, and it's the exact same thing as the example I just showed. You just play the clips and call it a day without explaining why they are on the list. So you later on in the update video saying that they weren't just compilations and had substance to them, being brutally honest, is a crock of shit, because that's all they really are. So in that instance, I can't fault YouTube for this because you weren't using the footage for fair use purposes. Yes, they aren't concerned about smaller channels like yours with your near 210,000 subscribers. You know, it'd be easy to just say get the fuck out of here with that, say it's really pathetic, and call it a night. But here's the thing. Yes, you technically are not wrong here. But the issue I have with it is the way you're going about it just sounds like they don't care because you're not making money off of your content. And I understand online videos is a job for some people, so I'm not faulting that. What I am faulting though is this comes off as you not understanding why this happened, assuming YouTube is selective and biased about what happens to the videos on the website. The issue with your content is, again, they don't fall under fair use, as I just stated. The best way to sum up nearly every countdown I've seen of yours in the past 2 to 3 years is just, here's some clips, thanks for watching, and subscribe, smiley face. If you're going to make countdowns in the future on your other channel, actually take the time to explain why they are on the list, and not just show footage and call it a day. Otherwise, to quote, and I hope I pronounced his name correctly, Joro Satayana, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Okay. I have 4 things I'd like to mention here. 1, the English opening to Dragon Ball Z gets really annoying when you loop it constantly for over 4 minutes. 2, later on in the video, you use the "You serious?" media clip. Overused media clip is still overused. 3, I know you said in the description somebody made this video for you, but in my opinion, making text videos goes against the point of YouTube. If you really want to get your point across with words, then do a blog. And finally, 4, and this is a big one, I'm not saying you shouldn't disagree with the outcome of Goku vs. Superman. Heck, I have seen people bring up valid points against Death Battle. But in this video, all you managed to accomplish was make yourself look like a conspiracy theorist, as you never provide proof in the video or the description that they made the rematch to punish the DBZ fans. It's truly amazing how seriously people take Death Battle when really it was made just for fun and shouldn't be something to rage over. That's it. You just play that segment just to agree with him? Look, agreeing with someone in a commentary is all well and good, and to be fair, even I don't like most of the filler in Naruto, but most commentators that I know of tend to look down on segments where they just stop the video and just agree with the user they are responding to when it's primarily debunking them because it messes with the pacing of the video. What makes matters worse for you is there was actually a point you could have made. Let me do the commentary for you. Again. Big Al, you claimed that Masashi Kishimoto was working on the manga and the anime at the same time, thus a crap ton of filler was made. If you did a simple Google search, or hell, even a Wikipedia search, you would see that the manga Naruto was first released in 2000, while the anime didn't begin airing until 2002. Not to mention, from what I saw when it came to the crew, Kishimoto wasn't one of the writers or even directors of any episode of the anime. Now sure, you could argue they have filler, but that was more the crew allowing the manga to maintain a head start, considering while Naruto is the most notorious of this, it wasn't the first shonen series to do that back in the mid to late 2000s. So in other words, what you just did was the equivalent of yelling at someone like Don Bluth for the mini sequels of The Land Before Time. Sandra, considering how you missed that, it makes me wonder, did you pay attention to Big Al's video, or even do a little bit of research to see if Big Al got his facts straight? Because if you didn't, you have no idea how lazy it makes you come off as. And it doesn't help that you are still repeating the same mistakes that you made in your original commentary on Big Al. Okay, I do have 4 things I'd like to say here. 1, your mic quality, to be honest, is pretty bad. You might want to look into getting a new microphone in the near future. 2, I have to ask, is it seriously that difficult to find pictures or heck, even footage that shows what you are talking about? I mean, this is a review, right? So it would be wise to attempt to show people what you are talking about. 3, in addition to my second point, I get that this review is short, but you don't elaborate on your points. At one point, you say the fighting scene starts off great, but then it goes downhill. Since you are the person giving the review, it is on you to explain your point. That way, the audience can at least see where you're coming from. And 4, and this is the big one, I won't deny that there are inconsistencies in Resurrection F, and I'll name 2 later, but Gohan not being able to take on Frieza's soldiers was not one of them. Because if you saw the movie, he was pretty much annihilating them. This is a shame because you can name inconsistencies and or plot holes in the movie, such as Tien saying he wanted Yamcha and Chaozu to stay out of the fight because the enemy is insanely powerful. Then what was the point of Master Roshi showing up, considering if memory serves me correctly, he's even weaker than Yamcha and Chaozu. Moreover, if the Earth was about to be invaded by a powerful enemy, in this case Frieza, then why wouldn't they try to defend their homeworld? I know Yamcha and Chaozu aren't that well liked, but that is a bit of a plot hole when you think about it. The second inconsistency I'll mention is there's no reason for Piccolo to have trouble fighting this guy, considering this takes place after the Majin Buu saga. And earlier in the film, Sorbet said his strength was on par with Zarba and Dodoria, who Piccolo easily surpasses in power at that point. It's kinda sad that I only saw this film once very recently, and I was able to point out flaws better than you did in the entire video. Okay, 2 things I'd like to say here. 1, didn't you say you were done with Boonslayer? If the answer is yes, then why are you still talking about him? If the answer is no, then you seriously need to move on because Boone moved on for the drama with you. And 2, if nobody cared about the commentary community, then why are you giving them and various other communities the time of day? If nobody cared about the commentary community, then nobody would discuss them, let alone give them attention, or bring them up in a near 11-minute video talking about the haters. Next time, listen to what you're saying. Thank you very much. Subscribers doesn't automatically mean you make good quality content. Need I mention Cartoon Fight Club and its 3D animation to give you proof of that? On top of that, I have more subscribers than you, so I guess by your logic, I am the king of kings. But in all seriousness, I think now is the time to mention the biggest problem with your video. Ignoring the pretentious attitude you had, where you claim to be saying facts, when in actuality you're just saying opinions, you didn't say anything new. By that I mean you kept repeating the same thing over and over again when discussing your haters. When a video becomes that repetitive, it becomes a bore to watch. Oh, and before one of your fans pull the don't like, don't watch card for me talking about your video, let me say this. That argument can be applied to anybody, even against you yourself for not liking stuff like professional wrestling or even the entertainment industry as a whole. This is Brown Coat Eric all over again. You only show one screenshot throughout the entire video. I get this is a spoiler-filled review and all, but come on, man. It is not that hard to put more than one still into a review, thus people can see the general idea of what you're talking about. This is my biggest problem with not just this review, but your reviews in general. You will make a point on something, but for God knows what reason you refuse to show what you're talking about, whether it's a still or better yet a clip of what you're discussing. It really is a continuous problem to not show what you're talking about. Oh, and before you and any of your fans pull the "I didn't ask for permission," this video is protected by fair use for criticism and commentary. Plus, you or your fans can't pull the argument that I'm making fun of you like what happened to Ryan's co-op because I am being dead serious. My main point is, the next time you review anything, for the love of God, actually show more than just a single screenshot. Okay, I get Wikipedia is very easy to look at with how accessible it is. But dude, you are aware that anyone can change stuff on Wikipedia, right? Using that as a source, regardless if it's for research or in this case clarification on something, is not exactly the most reliable thing to go off of. Okay, before I get into my biggest problem with this segment, I want to say you seriously need to shorten your intro, because 61 seconds is just insanity. Having said that, my biggest problem right off the bat is a commentary on Magical Pocket Usagi. Really, dude? Okay. Let's ignore for a second that she is a troll. She hasn't been active on her channel in 5 years. And on top of that, hasn't been a relevant topic since 2010? You really couldn't find someone more relevant to tackle? I don't care if it was requested or not. There is literally nothing new you could say about Magical Pocket Usagi that hasn't been said already. Before we go, I'd like to say one thing about part 2 of this commentary. You have got to be kidding me. You're seriously recording off of your camera? Okay, ignore the pointless statement he made in that segment. There are numerous places where you can download YouTube videos for free. So you have zero excuse to be recording off of your camera, and it just comes off as unbelievably lazy. Okay, Connor, since you appear to be making a Frankenstein monstrosity of a commentary, a skit, and a reaction video, I want to point out these two things out to you. The first is Christian YouTuber hasn't been a relevant topic since 2009 or 2010 if we were really going to push it. So there should have been no reason as to why making a video on him in 2017 should be considered a good idea. Now, before someone brings up the elephant in the room, it actually ties into the other thing I wanted to point out. The second thing I want to say is, it's bad enough when you talk about a user who's been an irrelevant topic for years. But the fact that about a month or so prior to making this video, PewDiePie made a skip video on the same user with a title that is nearly identical to your title, it makes it dead obvious to me that you're trying to ride his coattails because you blatantly stole jokes from him, like with the dick-sucking lips comment, which makes this video even worse. If you aren't going to come up with your own jokes, at least try to put your own spin on it, not rip off from the most subscribed person on YouTube. Granted, this video isn't horrible by any stretch of the imagination, but at the same time, I am disappointed in James for two reasons. One minor, and the other I think is the big problem. My minor issue is he gave other stuff he liked that got rebooted a fair chance, so one can ask why he doesn't give this version a chance. My major complaint with not just what I showed, but also with the video as a whole is James of all people should know, let alone appreciate the complexities of marketing, expectations, and satisfying an audience with a specific viewpoint and or demand with the AVGN movie, and how, to put it nicely, polarizing it turned out to be, even when he released the trailer. Now, I'm not saying he should or shouldn't like the new Ghostbusters film. If he doesn't want to see it, that's completely fine. However, at the same time, you can't judge a finished film when A, it's not even out yet, and B, on promotional material alone. Like, to me, it feels a bit juvenile, where his trailer had many people being vocal about their displeasure, and yet people still gave him the benefit of a doubt. Now, here he is not doing the same for his fellow filmmakers. Now granted, this video is not horrible overall, but the last two entrants of his list, I have one nagging issue with how he compares films. In this case, sure, Donnie Darko and the Karate Kid are coming of age stories, but that's really about the only thing they have in common. It's an apples to oranges comparison because the Karate Kid is a martial arts drama, while Donnie Darko is more a sci-fi thriller. And what's just as bad is later on he compares The Big Lebowski to North by Northwest, which to my knowledge, and someone could correct me on this, outside of crime, have almost nothing in common. I get he refers to elements done better in other films, and I know James is a very smart guy when it comes to film, but to me, when you make comparisons like that, I think it has to make sense where there is more than one similarity to them, and again, not be an apples to oranges comparison like what he did in this video. Okay, Doug, I have a question. Since when did this movie split people? Last time I checked, the film got mainly positive reviews, so where are you getting the mixed reception from? Plus, I have not seen a review where they called this movie specifically sexist, so it makes me even more curious where in the world you got that from. Oh, and one last thing. Am I the only one to find it to be a bit of false advertising that in two Disney December videos, those being his review of Star Wars The Force Awakens and The Good Dinosaur, they are simply rivalry videos with his brother? Like, you seriously can't separate the two, let alone make them their own separate video, Doug? Now, I will grant them that, yes, the soundtrack to Hellsing is very good. So you might be asking, what issue do I have with this entry? Well, they pretty much said it as if Hellsing's main antagonists were zombies. Here's the issue with that statement. Well, yes, the ghouls in Hellsing, and even if we include Hellsing Ultimate, are more or less zombies, they are not the main antagonists of the series. They were just mooks. The main enemies they fight are vampires. I know this might seem as a nitpick since both are undead, but when you're doing this professionally like what they do, you need to fact check whatever series you are talking about. And since they upload every few hours, it does make me question it. Oh, and when it comes to their site, if you're expecting IGN-style reviews where the written countdown goes more in depth, sad to say that is not the case. It's only a video sharing site. Come on, Watch Mojo. I get you upload 4 to 5 videos a day, but for the love of God, show some quality control, man. Stuff like this is just inexcusable. Not to mention, considering how you guys upload so frequently, not only makes me think that you don't care about the quality of your videos, but also are just farting out countdowns, regardless if everything is 100% ready to be made public just for the views and nothing more. I get this is a fan-voted countdown, so you have to take everything with a grain of salt. But considering how many subscribers these guys have, they should be put on higher standards, and when they make a glaring flip-up like this, then they should be called out for it. Also, before I end my one-shot, I want to say this will more than likely be my last commentary on Watch Mojo, because I don't think I could bring anything new to the table when it comes to them. Okay, first off, I get there aren't a lot of thoughts videos on the Nostalgia Critic, but out of any video you could have chosen from, you picked a video from 2009, and from a user who never really improved his content in 7 years, and even then, who's to say his views hasn't changed since? On top of that, you make the claim that he didn't watch Gargoyles when he made that review. Care to show proof or an example? Hey, you made the claim, I'm just asking for some evidence. Second, you used his Haunted Mansion review as an example of a video made pre-demo reel. If you did any homework, you realize that review was made after demo reel. Third, continuing from my second point, you said how Channel Awesome must have signed a contract or something to upload Nostalgia Critic's older videos, which again, if you did any research, you realize Channel Awesome is run by Daywalker. I seriously wonder if you made this video unscripted. Lastly, 4. Apparently you don't know what editing is to an extent, because at one point, you stutter on your words, and you mentioned that your phone is ringing. While it is good that you picked off where you left off, is it seriously that hard to edit stuff like that out? While I do agree that Dante was introduced rather late in the series, as well as Lust and Envy having more screen time, I don't think she's as underdeveloped as you're letting on. She is given some backstory and even a motivation, as she was a lover of von Hohenheim, you know, the fathers of Edward and Alphonse Elric, and she wanted to obtain the Philosopher's Stone to live forever. Plus, considering she is the leader of the homunculus, it does make sense that she would be the main villain. As for the twist of her being the main villain being an asshole, as you said, one can make the argument that it's played to the mystery element of the series, which you said so yourself earlier in the review that the series had, as she was supposedly killed by greed, and her student Lyra was nowhere to be seen. So when it's revealed that Dante transferred her soul into Lyra and has been doing that for hundreds of years, it could be seen as not only shocking, but also her being more diabolical in that regard. I'm not saying you shouldn't have issues with Dante as a villain, let alone as a character. Heck, I have my own issues with how the series ended, but at the same time, there was more going on than what you claimed in this review. See, here's my biggest problem with your entire review. The footage you show doesn't even come close to matching with whatever you're talking about. And this isn't an isolated problem, it's a recurring issue throughout the entire video, as you'll say something like the backstory of the Elric brothers, and yet the footage you're showing is them at Lior talking to Rose on how Cornella was a fraud and is duping people into believing alchemy are miracles of God. I understand there's a lot of ground to cover in 51 episodes, but at the same time, it shouldn't be too difficult to find footage, let alone even a still image that would match with whatever you're saying. Okay, I have a lot to say. First off, the series is called Fate Zero. It was never called Fate Stay Zero. I know this might seem as a nitpick since it is part of the Fate Stay universe, but when you're reviewing anything like a film or a TV show, the least you could do is get the title of whatever you're talking about right. Second, I could tell this review was unscripted, as at one point you mentioned how the animation was iffy, but then it mostly looked okay, minus some of the characters' faces, then say it's pretty awesome, and then say it's pretty good. I would be forgiving of someone going unscripted if they know what they are doing while improvising, and to be brutally honest, if this review is anything to go by, you didn't. So I think it would be wise to stick to scripts, and it doesn't help matters that you cut yourself off at the end of the video. Third, in addition to my second point, you hardly give us a single example to any of your points, and while it's commendable that you put the links in the description, the fact of the matter still remains that this is a review. Fourth, it's all well and good that you take inspiration from Glass of Fracture or G.R. Okada, but it seems like you didn't take any cues from his videos, since at least he gives a lot of stuff with his reviews in the same amount of time, if not shorter, whereas you made a lot of vague statements, and the fact that this was also unedited only made things worse. To add to that, in the description, you said you would use clips, but chose not to because you don't want to get a strike, so you put links in the description. I'm sorry, dude, but that comes off as a hollow excuse to get out of editing. Lastly, you said this. So it's worth spending nearly $100 for the series? Look, as much as I like Fate Zero, even I think Aniplex's prices for their products are ridiculous. Wait, that's it? I get this as a short review and all, but with how vague you were in it, this could have easily worked as a post on Twitter or better yet Facebook. Not a video on YouTube where you have to edit it together on not just the audio, but also adding pictures and or clips as well. In addition to my previous point, there have been videos where I show clips, so why doesn't he include them in this review? I doubt you would have a severe limitation on Fate Zero clips you can use or show. Also, is it just me, or does it sound like this guy is trying way too hard to sound cool or edgy in this review? Oh, and after the review is done, it literally is nothing but that picture of Saber zooming outward with the second theme, and it goes on for over 30 seconds. Dude, if your review is done, just end the video there. There is no need to pan out the video like that. Lastly, if anyone's curious, I checked out the 2 anime reviews he made after the Fate Zero review, and they all have the same problem. He is really vague with everything, his reviews take up a minute at most, and then ends it with a picture with a theme of the anime that goes on for way too long. In other words, he hasn't improved on a single thing since the Fate Zero review, so I'm sorry Yamato, but I don't think that is good reviewing at all. Hold on, you're not even going to explain why Sword Art Online is number 1, but instead pretty much pull the opinion card? When you're doing an opinionated list, at the very least, give reasons as to why they are on the list, not be incredibly vague about everything. And this is a problem I see with every Yamato video. He barely gives anything about the series he talks about. Most of his descriptions is either what you just witnessed, or what happens when you summarize a Wikipedia description. I'm sorry Yamato, but that is not good in a countdown, and that is especially not good reviewing. Okay, I think we can agree it's bad enough to make a list like this and not give jack shit as to why this anime would be great for beginners. But what I have an issue with is I checked his channel, and about 2 weeks prior, he made a second list of best English dub anime, where Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is also on the list. I'm not exaggerating, it is just about identical to why this anime is on this list. For a channel that has, at the time of this recording, over 45,000 subscribers, I find it absolutely inexcusable to be that lazy with your countdown, and it's amazing to me that nobody calls them out on that. Okay, first off, that was an obvious joke MTR Dynamo were doing, and it flew over your head. Second, that still doesn't excuse you for being so quiet to the point where I thought I was going deaf. So I'm sorry, that's not MTR Dynamo's fault, but your fault. Especially since the same problem reared its ugly head in this response commentary. Seriously, dude, either speak up or get a new microphone. Lastly, third, the funny thing is later on in your small commentary, you said this. Even if that's what you were trying to do, especially in the context of this response commentary, it was still poorly delivered, which, like with the second point, is your fault, not MTR and Dynamo's fault. Ignoring the countless times you missed the point of what Skihound and Dirtfoot were actually making, I have to say you're thinking how Renan is just like the mysterious Mr. Enter as Jewishness is just wrong. Renan acting like a douchebag, you can argue, is more of a persona of anything, and in the exact same video that you were responding to, which you never show, he not only gave Tom, aka Super Funny Bros, and ways to improve, but also advice to anyone that wants to make commentaries. When at any point did Renan ever do things in the past like claiming trolling and cyberbullying were one and the same and blocked anyone that told him otherwise, made a follow-up video where he acted like a total prick to people that disagreed with him, and even made a video where a good chunk of it was yelling at his own fans about requesting him stuff. Going by that, Dirtbite Renan's absolutely nothing like the mysterious Mr. Enter, and just like when the Metal Blade 5 said Rom Wars was like a Nia Sarkeesian, I have to ask, what in the hell are you talking about? Now, I don't mind somebody making a skip screen to skip over parts of the video they have nothing to say. My issue here was your skip screen goes on for way too long. The longest a skip screen should be is like 4 seconds, because if you're tackling a video where you're skipping a lot of the video, it'll get annoying after a while. Your skip screen here goes on for like 5 seconds. Moreover, it's just that still dry with text at the bottom. So really, I think it should have been like 3 seconds just to be nice. And if you count the pause before this particular skip, it went on for about 7 seconds. Next time you do a commentary, Crimson, try and not only shorten your pauses, but also make your skip screen more reasonably paced, especially if you are going to just use a still image. Crimson, the video on Kate and Marks was not what Sock was commentating on. That was what Blazing Rants was commentating on. The name of the video they were tackling was Blazing Fire versus Roaring Thunder. Considering you've been doing commentaries for at least a year, you'd think you would have been aware of the drama going on with Roaring Thunder Pursuit when he was a hot topic in the commentary community. Okay, I have two things. One, well, yes, they do have other people within the group look at their videos before they make it public. That doesn't mean the group themselves won't make potential mistakes sometime in the future. Heck, there's one video they took down, but even then, that doesn't mean it won't happen. And two, I get this is a subscriber special, but don't you think making a 50 subscriber special is a little much? I mean, this goes from dedication to just trying too hard. While I will grant you that the character development of Blade 2 is kinda lackluster, to put it politely, there are two details that citizens never point out that kinda bugs me. One, to get the weaker point out of the way first, since Nissa was dying, she asked Blade to take her up to the roof so she could die as the last witch. And two, the most important point I want to make that they never addressed is that Nomak bit her prior to the final fight between him and Blade, so more than likely dropping her into the blood pool wouldn't prevent her from turning into a Reaper, especially given the time it will take Blade to fight and or kill Nomak, pick Nissa up, and take her to that area, assuming it wasn't destroyed during the fight with Reinhardt and the Nameless Guards. What makes it worse is a lot of the points they made, I can for the most part understand where they are coming from, but this final point rubbed me the wrong way. Nice small contradiction there, where you say if they delay this series longer, nobody's going to care, then immediately followed up with, well, some people would care. I get this as a rant and all, but did you ever once look through your dribble to make sure stuff like that isn't present? Seriously, you are a YouTuber with a subscriber count of over 370,000. I expect better quality control from a YouTuber of that size. See, while it is true that I have heard rumors about Season 2 of Attack on Titan being released in 2016, but you claiming they are delaying it because they don't want it to bomb and lose money in the process is at best only a possibility. not a fact. I say that because, for all we know, it could very well be a production problem. What if there's creative differences with some of the writers or the director? What if the animation is behind schedule, thus they have to delay it? I could go on, but you get my point. There could be a number of different factors that could be why it's being delayed. Also, like with my last point, it feels like you contradict yourself, because earlier in the video, you go on how we should have more or less gotten it, and then say how they shouldn't rush it because it might turn out bad. Considering how much of a moneymaker Attack on Titan is, I doubt Studio Wit, let alone the cast or crew, would intentionally delay production, so it's less of a risk that it bombs. How about we wait until it comes out and see if the wait was truly worth it or not? Oh yeah, one last thing. I love how you show articles in your video and claim one of the writers confirmed it was getting released in 2016, but you don't even bother to cite your sources, let alone cite the article you used in the description. When you don't do that, it makes it come off as you expecting people to blindly take your word for it, as opposed to letting them come to his or her own conclusion. Wait a minute, so you put a character you love to hate and even think is a good character on a video of worst anime characters of all time. Look, I could get if you think Kyubey was poorly written or something to that effect, and I get he is somewhat hated, but here's the thing, you never go into any detail about why he's the worst to begin with, and on top of everything I said, adding a character you love to hate on a video of worst anime characters goes completely against what a worst of is supposed to be. So to summarize, I have to ask, why is a character you think is good and love to hate is on a video of worst anime characters? Okay, is this as bad as what Life in a Tent did all those years ago? No, because he wasn't exploiting a disaster that led to the death of thousands of people. Having said that, asking people to thumbs up a video and comment is not only exploiting someone and getting injured, but also is just a douchebag thing to do. Oh, and Leo, if you claim you aren't exploiting the suffering of a performer, then this comment you left in response to Berg would love to tell you otherwise. Oh boy, where do I begin? Since I want to say my piece on not just this video, but the situation in general, as I have a lot to say. First, I checked out the video in question, which is Azu's 3-shot, and sure, she could have picked pictures that didn't have watermarks, and this is coming from somebody who made that mistake long ago. Now, having said that, I only noticed like 2 pictures that had watermarks throughout the entire video, which is nowhere near as much as from what I can see you are making it out to be. Oh, and since you represent yourself with a Mega Man and Mario character in not just your opening, but also your username, you are one to talk about people using characters as their avatars. Second, the whole speeding up your video is for pacing's sake. You give a long explanation on your theory of Wily, and rather than let it drag on for too long, it does make sense to speed it up a little to get to the important stuff quicker, and what exactly is wrong with saving time? Oh, and speaking of your theory, if you admitted that you are biased, you are aware that is a problem in of itself, especially when presenting a theory, right? Third, don't act like you speak what the problems are with commentators, because I am willing to bet that had Katie Narazu not make a commentary on you, you wouldn't even be aware these kinds of videos existed. But you want to know my biggest issue I had with not just this video, but this entire situation as a whole? It's that it went from just a simple difference of opinions to just ridiculous. Throughout the entire ordeal, you demonstrated just how egotistical you are. You make the claim that you wanted to have a debate with these people, but with the case of at least one of them, you were blocked. Quick question, where is your proof? You don't show a screenshot demonstrating that you were indeed blocked, and since it appears you blocked said people, how can I take your word for it? Furthermore, you used your likes and subscribers as a justification saying, well, if nobody agreed with me, the video would not get any likes. Which is a rather pointless thing to say, because it doesn't matter if a video has a crap ton of likes. It doesn't mean people will find flaws in what you are saying. The same can be said with your subscriber number. It doesn't matter if you have 1 subscriber or even 1,000,000 subscribers. If you present faulty reasoning, you will be called out on it. Now you may be asking, well, how does it get ridiculous? Well, he says this later on in the video. Bravo, good sir. Way to make yourself come off as a spiteful individual who is kicking someone who is down on their luck and is currently in a really bad situation. Nice going there, prick. Now, on paper, you might think this seems fair enough. Except for the fact that in several videos you have made, including your most recent video on the list of worst films of 2016, you bashed up that people like, and unlike CinemaSins or Honest trailers where at least you can tell when they are joking, you on the other hand do it in such a way that makes you come off as an absolute dick. So to me, it feels like a bit of a double standard to not like or watch people tear into stuff you like, yet you do the exact same thing to people in a way that makes you come off as a real asshole. Ignoring the hilariously inaccurate thumbnails you showed, like how apparently reasons to avoid Sword Art Online is the same as a list of reasons to improve Sword Art Online, I searched up the last thing he listed, and the only thing I found that has the title, Why Isn't SAO Dead Yet, is Gigug's video. And sure, just by looking at the title, it sounds like a bashing video, considering how many bashing videos there are of Sword Art Online, until you sit down and watch it. You see, when you actually sit down and watch Gigug's video, you would see very quickly his video wasn't even a bashing video in the first place, but more of a how he thought Sword Art Online got as popular as it did. That just makes you come off as someone who either doesn't bother to fact check your videos before you edit, or is outright lying to his audience to make a video's motive be one thing to fit your own narrative, when his true intention is completely different. Okay, well, I will agree that it is annoying to see people arguing on something when they don't know what they are talking about. Having said that, not every fanboy of a topic are the experts. I say that because even you should know that some fanboys and or fangirls present some really stupid reasons in our arguments to defend the series, or in this case franchise, they like, regardless if someone brings up valid points against it. First of all, when it comes to Godzilla being a kaiju film and not a monster movie, all I have to ask is, what is your point? I said that because kaiju films are basically Japanese monster movies. So going by that, despite the monsters not having much screen time, it still counts as a monster movie. My second issue with this point is, while Jaws is debatable on whether or not it's a horror movie, Jurassic Park, on the other hand, is not even a horror movie. That is more of a sci-fi adventure thriller film. I know you claimed you aren't a movie buff, but surely it couldn't be too hard to look up what genre they fall under, so then you don't make a mistake like that. Oh my god, someone in the interrupts made a punch at me. Now I'm gonna Hulk out now. Wait, that's Marvel. Shit! But in all seriousness, you claim how you would curb stomp Ernie was a joke, yet in the exact same video that you're responding to, Ernie said this.
That first impressions jab earlier was just a joke, and I hope you understand that.
So it's okay for you to say you would curb stomp him if you met him in real life as a joke, but when he makes a potch at you being slow stating it wasn't meant to be taken seriously, it's alright for you to throw a bitch fit over it. God damn, Edward Nigbud, you need to take a bath because you seriously reek of hypocrisy.